All right, everybody, Angela Petrilli here again for another edition of the Riff Rundown with the awesome folks at Fishman. I'm going to be teaching one of my favorite songs ever, Drive by Incubus. I absolutely love this song. This was one of the songs to me that really inspired me to really want to play more and explore all the different voicings that the guitar can have in terms of rhythm playing. So this is a really cool song to delve into. I'm going to play the tune here. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know it already. So again, you guys know the drill. Here's how this works. Let me know where you're tuning in from and tell me your favorite LA-based band. So where you're tuning in from, favorite LA-based band. Here we go. Here's Drive by Incubus. So there it is there. We're going to be going through this song today. Again, as all you guys know, step by step. We're going through this slowly. You're seeing that there's a lot of chords down here. Don't worry. We're going to break it down step by step to where these can be manageable and palatable for everyone. So let's go ahead and get started here. Here's what we want to do. For this first chord, this is an E minor. A really cool, interesting looking and sounding E minor. So those of you may ask, how? It doesn't sound like this. And it doesn't sound like this. Or this. This voicing here. There's a lot of really cool notes, but here's the thing. It's still using the same three notes that we see in E minor. So those of you keeping track, E, B, and G. Those are the three notes we're looking for to play this E minor. So let's go ahead and look at this voicing that Mike Einziger did. And again, if you guys are not familiar with his guitar work, by all means, go and check out his stuff. Fantastic musician. One of my favorites of all time. Mike Einziger just absolutely rocks. So here we go. Let's have a look at this first chord here. So first finger, you're going to put that on the 7th fret of the A string. Okay, it's going to be our root. Your third finger, go ahead and put that on the 9th fret of the D string. That is going to be our B. B as in boy. Okay, so right there we already have our 1 and 5 that we need to make this E minor. All right, here's what comes next that's very interesting. The G string is open. Hear that? So right there we have our flat third. What we need to make that 1 flat 3 5 of that E minor. So right there, we already have it. Now, here's what's extra cool. Second finger, place that on the 8th fret of that B string. Okay, right there. There's your octave of G. Hear that? So we're getting this octave thing happening towards the bottom of the chord. Really beautiful craftsmanship here with this chord. So then what we do is we play the open E string, completing that 1 flat 3 5, that E B or the E G B that makes up this E minor. So if we play it straight, that's how it should sound. Super cool voicing. So that is our E minor. Now, the iconic intro to this is the way that it is strummed in the beginning. Just like that. So how we do this, pluck your E on that 7th fret of the A string, then go ahead and pluck that 9th fret D string. Very firm, attentive, with conviction, downward strum on the rest of the chord. Come back, up strum with just as much conviction here. And then, slight palm mute right here. You're going to want to mute the rest of the chord. I'm going to do that again a few times here. Feel free to follow along. Again. And mute. And it's very subtle. We're doing this slow so you can see how this works. But know when we are playing it to time, it moves a little faster. Just like that, okay? So that's our E minor there. Let's go ahead and move on to this next chord. This is an E minor 7, and it looks like this, and sounds like that. Again, a very delicious voicing of this chord. Let's go ahead and talk through it. So, your third finger, place that on the 7th fret of the A string, that's your E. Your first finger, go ahead and put that on the 5th fret of that D string. There's G again, okay? Pinky finger, place that on the 7th fret of that G string. There's your D, there's your flat 7. Then you have your B string open. There's your 5. So what's happening here? Your 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. The formula that you need to make a minor 7 chord is present. Right there. So here's the thing, play that open E string too. You've got the root there, you've got your 1. So again, talking in terms of the formula, here's what's happening. Your 1, E. 5th fret of that D string, that's G, your flat 3. Pinky finger is on the 7th fret of the G string, that is your D, the flat 7. Okay? And B string open is your 5. And E string open is your 1. So there we go. We play this. Awesome chord. Awesome chord. So that's what it sounds like if we just strum it and then pluck out all of the notes, okay? So we're going to strum this in the exact same way as we did with our E minor previously. Very quick, okay? With conviction, downstrum and upstrum. I'm going to go back and forth between these two, the E minor and the E minor 7, so you can see how they work together. Okay. One good downstrum there on that E minor 7. Just one. Again, I'm going to go slow, and we'll bring it up to tempo. And notice how I'm hitting the root. This is something that we're going to see a lot in this song. We hit the root first of each chord before we go on to then strum the rest of that chord, okay? So again, we're going to go back and forth here between this E minor and E minor 7. Again, a few more times. Two more times here, folks. And last round. Now, the chord that comes next is a C major 7. Looks and sounds like this. Again, another beautiful, beautiful chord. Here's how we do it. First finger, place that on the 3rd fret of that A string. There's your C. Your ring finger, reach on over to that 5th fret of the D string, your G. Second finger, 4th fret of that G string, your B, which makes this chord a major 7. Okay, and your pinky finger is going to go on that 5th fret of the B string, your E. And you're getting, again, another really cool octave droning E with that open E string underneath it. Really cool and just ambient tones. It's awesome. This song is so fun to play. So well thought out. I mean, Mike Einziger really knew what he was doing when he was coming up with this one, man, because it's super fun to play. Really, really cool chords here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead, break this down now to the 3 chords, E minor 7 to C major 7. Here we go. Nice and slow, and then we'll build up the speed. Again, conviction and mute. Down, up, mute. Just like that. Again. Now to speed. Now, the last chord to complete this is going to be our A7 chord. We're not going to play it in a spot you might think. We're going to do a really cool inversion of this. So it's going to live right there. So here's how we play this. The shape of it is like a triangle, okay? So your second finger, place that on the A, 5th fret of that E string, okay? So right here. Now we're going to do first finger, place that on the C sharp located on the 4th fret of the A string. So far, 1, 3, okay? So there they are there. Now, your third finger, place that 5th fret D string, that is your G. Now again, we're getting some more droning here with this chord. Plays the G string open as well. So you're having this 5th fret D string and that open G string being played together as well. So if I just play those 4 strings, not neat. So there we go. So in this chord, the only note that we don't have is an E. We have our A, we have our C sharp and G. So our 1, our flat 3, our flat 7. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and play this in sequence, all 4 of these chords. Lucky for us, this is the intro, this is the verse, this is the chorus of this song. So we're covering a lot of ground here with these 4 chords. So when you are practicing at home and when you are sitting down really learning this, really trying to, get this, all of these little techniques, take your time. Again, you cannot play anything fast, we cannot play slow, okay? So take your time. Slow and steady is the way to go here, okay? So from the top, again, nice and slow, including that A7 at the end, okay? So here we go. Okay? Now, with these chords, really want you to keep in mind here, we're going to talk a little bit about the technique of it. Make sure that those fingers, like I tell all of my students, you guys included, keep the fingers nice and curled. With this song, this is really important. We have a lot of droning notes, a lot of droning strings that are happening in the song. So we want to make sure we make the space with our fingers to ensure that the strings can vibrate the way they need to and to get those tones and those notes that we want. So make sure, like notice here how curled my fingers are. We're not doing any sort of flattening stuff here. So really keep that in mind when you are practicing this. When you are taking your time, go slow. Ensure that the technique is good. When we have when we're going through a song at a slower pace, what happens, and again, something I tell my students all the time, what happens here is we increase the internal dialogue that we have with ourselves when we're learning something. So if we're trying to chase the clock, we're not having those moments of, is this proper technique that I'm playing? Am I strumming correctly with the right hand? We don't have time to answer these questions. We're just worried about playing to the time that the song was recorded in. So when we practice slow, this time is now much longer, giving us that space to ask ourselves these questions. Am I playing this correctly? Am I using the correct techniques? Am I even playing the right chord? These sorts of questions you can ask when you are taking your time learning the song. Okay, so that's something I want you to think about. It's something I do myself when I am learning songs. I always go slow first. I never try and chase the clock. I get it. I know in this society that we are in that we always want to, get that instant gratification, but trust me, slow and steady is the way to go, particularly with a song like this, and giving all of those chords just the right amount of space, the right amount of time and intent, all that stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and play what we've got already. I'm going to play it slow and then to speed. So here we go. Follow along. Play it to speed a couple times, then we'll get over to that pre-chorus. So here we go. So there we go there. So let me talk a little bit. I'm seeing questions about guitars and the string gauge and how hard you need to press and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So what I've got here is my trusty 00017E Martin guitar. I absolutely love this thing. It has been all over the country with me. I absolutely love this guitar. I've got the Matrix VT Enhance in here. Love those pickups. They're great. They're great. Sound good on stage, all that good stuff. That's all you want with some good acoustic pickups, right? What I've got through here, what I'm going through, the little silver box that I always talk about in these acoustic lessons, I've got the Fishman Aura Spectrum DI here. It's an acoustic imager. I plug my guitar in here. It goes into the house. It sounds great. All the sound people, whenever I'm at a gig, they see this thing and they're just like, thank you so much for bringing that. It allows the guitar to sound as it should. We all know when we buy an acoustic guitar, we buy it because of the way that it sounds in a room, how warm it is and how it just cuts through the air in a room. There's just something so special about an acoustic guitar. So with this Aura Spectrum, it makes the guitar sound as it should live. I'm sure, and many of us are guilty here. Back in the day, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to mic this thing. It can become just crazy, right? Feedback, all that good stuff. This takes all of that away, makes the guitar sound as it should. Super easy, plug it right in, done. So I don't leave the house with this, and I'll be sure to leave a link in the video so you guys know and check it out, because it's awesome. It is a piece of my musical arsenal that I always have, always. It is always there. One of my most important tools when I'm playing, for sure, hands down. As far as the amp is concerned, I'm going through the Fishman Loudbox Performer here. Super great, awesome, lightweight, and is loud, folks. When they say Loudbox, they mean it. It's a loud one. It's great. Sounds really good. Again, allows the guitar to sound as it should. Has really good character. I really like it. Brings out just the warmness of guitar. And if you guys like delays and reverbs and stuff, it's got that all for you too. So again, mic'd into an SM57 and then out to all of you, wherever you are. So those of you just tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from and your favorite LA band. Let me know, folks. So that's what's happening here. I'm seeing some questions about strings and action. So if you find that you are playing this song and it's a little hard to press, it could be the action of the guitar. So what do I mean by that? We have the fretboard, right? Where we press on the guitar. We have our frets, all of that good stuff. The space between the fretboard itself and the strings, that's called the action. If the strings are pretty high, that means the action is high. This is something for folks who play slide guitar. They tend to like to have a guitar with higher action, right? It's easier to slide to do its thing. You don't get any fret buzz. For stuff like this, if we're playing in standard, we're really getting our hands on the guitar, we want to make sure that it is comfortable. Now, what is comfortable action is different to some people than it is to others. So if you guys are first starting out on guitar, or you've been playing a while, you guys know the drill here. You want to find a space that is comfortable. Find yourself a wonderful luthier in wherever you are, what part of the world, and have them make sure that the guitar is comfortable for you to play. You don't want to press so hard that it hurts every time you pick up the guitar. We don't want that. This instrument is supposed to bring us joy, right? So we don't want it to be incredibly painful when you are playing. So look at the action of the instrument. And you can see it and you can tell if it perhaps is a little too high. Go get that adjusted, go back and play it. And you'll see that it feels a bit better. So if you're finding that pressing with these interesting types of chords is a little difficult, check out the action, okay? I know it's gonna make things a lot easier. So let's go ahead and look at this. We're gonna go through the pre-chorus. Now, the chords in this pre-chorus are C major 7 and A7. However, we're going to be doing different versions of them. We're going to be playing them in different spots. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This C major 7 here, it's what's being played at the top of that pre-chorus. So what's really interesting about this is a much easier version to play C major 7 than this one, right? Less fingers involved. It's good. And why don't you think of it like this? So how do we play this chord? What are some ways to think about, how to play it? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So third finger, go ahead and put that on the third fret of that A string, okay? There's your C, there's your root. Your second finger, go ahead and put that on the second fret of the D string. There's your E, okay? Now what happens here, we're gonna play the open G string, no fingers, and B string, open. And even if you happen to hit that E string, that's fine too. Because again, we are checking off all 4 of those notes that we need to make that C major 7. The 1, 3, 5, and 7. In this case, C, E, G, and B. There it is there. So, that's how we do that. You could also think about it like this. Regular old C chord that we know, lift up the first finger. Okay? There are 2 ways to think about that. Pretty chord. I love a good major 7 chord. And this one's got a bunch of them, so there you go. So there's that C major 7. Now, we go to the regular old A7 that we learn when we're first learning guitar. It looks like that, okay? Here's how we do that. Second finger, second fret of that D string. There's E. Open G string. And your third finger, second fret of the B string, that's your C sharp. Go ahead and strum that E string on the bottom as well. And don't forget your root of A up top on the A string. Okay, so those are the chords there in the pre-chorus. We're not moving around too much. Pretty simple for the most part. Okay, so that's what's happening there. So let's go ahead and strum those out. I will do this slow, and then I will play to speed. Okay, so here we go. There are some times, and I have to say, Incubus is the band I have seen the most times live. As of right now, I think it's about 16 times I've seen them live. They're one of my favorite LA bands, hands down. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a really cool suspension. So I will leave this as like a level 2 for those of you who go, okay, this is pretty simple. Right, and this is to tempo. So what you can do, and I've seen him do it a few times, is you can go ahead and add a suspension here, making that an A7 sus4. So how you would do that, pinky finger, 3rd fret of the B string, which is D. And you can go and lift that like that. So that's an optional thing you can do here. In context, I will play it without the suspension, and then I'll do a pass with the suspension. So again, leaving that up to you guys. So here we go. Now we're going to do it with that suspension. That's what's happening there. Now, let's go ahead and put all of this together. Our intro, verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. Two main parts. Okay? So here we go. I'll do it slow, and then I'll do it fast. And we're done with this one today, folks. This was a fun one. So here we go. Chorus. All right, I'm going to do one pass fast, and there we go. So there we go, folks. That's the whole song. That is Drive by Incubus. Go and check it out. Really, really awesome tune. Again, those of you who have been enjoying these Fishman riff rundowns, be sure to follow Fishman on all your social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. You can follow me, AngelaPetrilliMusic.com. Go there. I'm on all the socials, all the same stuff. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm wishing you all so much success with this. Let me know how it turns out. And again, happy playing. Hope you guys do well. Can't wait to hear this.